Hello, everyone. In this episode, this is mainly for my class. There's a class competition for this year. And I'm just going to give a sample code mainly to show you how to load data and how to save data in the format I want. And I guess the middle of the code that actually computes, you'll have to figure out what to do. Okay. So here's the file, that's competition 2023. It's a hint. It's a very sloppy code. It won't work well, but hopefully it shows how the data format looks like. Okay? So first you have to load the library and then load the data. It's best that you save the data in Google Drive. In my case, so there are 3 files for the competition files. Which I think you have, what is it? Xtrain, Xtest, and Ytest, Ytrain. Okay, Ytest is the correct answer, and I'm not giving it to you. So you use the Xtrain and Ytrain to train your model, and then put an Xtest to give a prediction that will generate a Y prediction. And I will check it against the Ytest. Okay. So first you have to map your Google Drive. Okay. And once you map it, load the Xtrain. It's a very large file, 200,000 observations, 27 columns. Ytrain, and then 10,000 of 28 columns. It's 28 because the first column is actually the serial number. It's ID, so you don't need that here. So, and then the next step is, of course, converting it to NumPy array. And I'm going to strip the ID. Okay? And in case you're wondering, competition data, Xtest has, let's see. Xtest looks like this. It has an ID. Okay. Xtrain has starting with V1 and so forth. So it has only 27 columns. Okay. Okay. So and convert to NumPy array, and then you can check the dimension, train and test. Okay. So once you have that, I leave it up to you. You can scale your standardize your variables and all that. But the Y variable for a neural network is Ytrain, and then the X variable, the 27 variables are Xtrain, okay? and scale it and do whatever you need. It's the number of rows and number of columns. I save it in a number. And then it's up to you. Here, I'll just give it a minimal, very terribly working code. Ytrain, the target variable is actually a 0-1 variable. So as I suggest, I guess sigmoid is appropriate one, but you'll have to basically develop your own neural network. So given that the output is 1-0 variable, the loss can be binary cross entropy, and you can use whatever optimizer you feel appropriate to do. Okay. And then yeah, you have to adjust here all. Basically, you train your model, and once it's trained, you can make predictions. So you put the Xtest in that model you trained and predict. It will give you a Ytest prediction. It's actually a continuous variable between 0 and 1. So you want to round it to make it 1-0 variable, meaning this was the Ytest prediction. It's a continuous variable between 0 and 1, and you want to convert it to 0-1 binary variable. Now that's done, you can save it. Basically, I need the first column to be ID and the second column to be your prediction, the 0-1 variable. So I create that here and then save it into class competition 2023 Ytest of your last name and first name, and save it, and then give that Excel file to me. Okay, so if you look at here, you can see here, the saved file has an ID serial number and then its fraud variable of your prediction, whatever it is. Okay, good. Okay, here's an example of how I will evaluate, given that I get your answer, but here I'll just use a mock data, mock Y prediction CSV and mock Y test CSV. So we'll just load those files, those two files. And then I'm gonna use, and you can type Wikipedia or somewhere, so Matthews correlation coefficient. And I basically use that function to put the Y test and Y prediction, and then see how that comes out. In this particular case, it's terrible. It's not 1, it's close to 0. So it's poorly forming, but hopefully you'll do a better job than this. Okay. All right. So this was a brief explanation of how the class competition, what to do, how to load file and save it, what to do. Okay. Thank you for watching this episode.